everyone, and welcome to our final episode of October with only 2 episodes left to air after this one. Super excited. Chrissy, how are you?
I'm good. Phillies. We'll be dancing on our own. World Series, going to the finals. We got Halloween coming up. Shout out to this little girl here for the Halloween. Oh my God, the dog.
Hey!
The dog got to her hair.
That's the gift my mom got you last year.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You said it was Halloween episode. I was like, let me grab this little girl.
It's our Halloween. It's our second annual Halloween episode.
She just fell on the ground. The dog got to her hair. But no, I'm excited for tonight. I'm excited for Halloween, and then no school. November's coming up, so there is school. There's just like very many days off, which is wonderful.
Chrissy, how was your week? I don't know why I'm trying to skip over things real quick.
My week has been okay. Working very hard. Is the end of the first quarter, which means that our school year is 1/4 of the way over. We had a very interesting episode of Survivor last night. Very messy.
Haven't watched it. Don't tell me anything.
I won't tell you anything else other than that. We went to Bark in the Park last weekend and raised money for animal rescue. Kalua did a 5K walk, and then she entered a costume contest as a dinosaur, and she flopped really hard. But it was fun.
For me, I'm excited. It's been a fun week. I finally got to sleep yesterday. I went to bed really early. I slept for 14 hours.
I love that for you.
Yeah, so I can for once say that I'm not tired. But I'm also really excited because our little gifts from Brent came
There they are, yes! Woo!
So there's 2 for you, 2 for me. I guess I can
Not the crust going away for Brent Champagne's face.
There we go.
Iconic.
remove Hocus Pocus.
Is the Survivor buff gone? Where's the red one?
It's over here. You just can't see
it. Was the angle, okay.
Yeah. But no, I'm excited. Chrissy, what are you drinking tonight?
So we had talked about having a champagne toast.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, you know what? Brent champagne is on. It's already going to pop because it's not going to pop like it's supposed to because I already opened it.
Mine was like a twist off.
We'll pretend. Ready? Oh, hold on. It's not opening. Oh my God, it's not on screen.
If that sprays all over. We're going to need a minute. We're going to need a second.
Not me hitting the wrong button.
Oh, wait, there you are.
There's like hardly any champagne that
is that rosé?
What?
That's rosé. Okay.
It's called Blush with notes of raspberry and honey. It's champagne.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It's cute.
So we'll be drinking that tonight. Couple of shout outs. Hello to Scott. Bye-bye to Chrissy.
Hello.
Hello back to Chrissy. Bye-bye, Chrissy.
It's going to happen at least like 6 more times. Okay, let's
Hello to Sherry.
Hey, Queen.
And hello to Valerie, my mom.
Oh, my gosh.
She's here. Did you see? I don't know if my mom saw the doll. Mom.
Did you see the doll?
Yeah, the doll.
The doll was up.
Show her the doll.
I brought in the doll for Halloween, the 1-year anniversary of the doll. Sorry, my dog kind of got to her one braid. I don't know how this dog got in here. The door was closed, but
guys, as promised, this is the Brent champagne episode. I have been holding on to this episode for about
4 months.
June, 5 months. 5 months tomorrow.
Sick.
So the reason why we held on to it for so long instead of airing it earlier is tomorrow, October 28th, is Brent Champagne's 30th birthday. He loves Halloween, and so I said, why not make this a Halloween episode? So There's
Welcome to
there's
the best
obviously
decade, Brent.
there's gonna be some obvious flaws in the interview. I'll ask. There's a couple of questions that I asked, and he goes, "Oh, that's right. It's not coming out till later." Like we recorded it pretending that we were on today. But before we do that,
Are we cheersing to Brent? Cheers
oh
to
sure, we
Brent.
can cheers to Brent.
Brent
Cheers.
champagne, clink.
Clink.
If you have a champagne or a Pepsi or whatever.
Before we do that, we have a very special little message to you, Chrissy.
What's up, Chrissy? Brent Champagne from Big Brother 23. As you know, I am one of your guests on your podcast, so I don't know why I'm introducing myself, just a force of habit. But I will say this. This is the last cameo and or video that I am recording in my 20s. So take that for what it is. Don't take it for granted. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for the love and support in and outside of the show and the house. And I want to say that I'm proud of both you and James for creating the idea and having the courage to run with that idea of creating a podcast and putting yourselves out there and doing the work, the research, and, you know, having the courage to ask with the possibility of rejection as far as the people that come on. To me, is always shoot or shoot, and I will always respect it. So I just want to say, you know, I admire your courage, and I admire the will to succeed, and I hope you never lose that. But now I'm going to be a little bit wiser, turning 30. It's a new decade.
Welcome to the best decade.
I'm excited for it. I can truly and honestly say I've lived my 20s. So I don't feel as though many people can actually say that, but I do feel as though I can. And I'm excited for the next decade and all those milestones that come with it. But enjoy your life and take risks and trust yourself and your intuition and do what makes you happy. That is all that really matters at the end of the day. I don't think enough people do what makes them happy. And if it wasn't for that mindset, I don't think I would have accomplished or have had the experiences in my life that I've had. So I wish you nothing but love, happiness, and you know, I hope you and James' friendship lasts an eternity. And hopefully you'll see me on something else and that I can revisit and come back on the podcast.
Period. The challenge.
Until then, I appreciate you and I admire both of you. So see ya. See you when I'm in my 30s. Take care.
Cheers. Oh my God. Thank you. That was, wait, did he do that today?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So that's for Chrissy.
That was iconic, especially because I couldn't be there for the interview. You won't see me.
Especially the amount of insults we throw at you in the interview.
Oh, I can't wait. I haven't, so for prospective viewers, I have not seen this interview. I've heard bits and pieces of it, but I know like it was either going to be this day or this day, and the one like Rob and I ended up having tickets to a baseball game that night, and we had a really special like event, but I was really bummed that like the two events coincided. So he keeps shading me in the interview, I guess, for not being there. So we look forward to that.
Only 2 or 3 times.
We look forward to Brent Champagne shading me, but then he was really sweet in the cameo. So
he's a very sweet guy outside of the cameo. But
is he gonna be backstage like Tiffany?
No, he is not backstage. I can 100% promise you he's not backstage.
Brent, running Alliance.
Without further ado, we will see you in 1 hour after our Brent Champagne interview. So sit back, relax. This is the interview that he said is the best. Enjoy.
My money.
What's up, guys? I am sitting here with Brent Champagne from Big Brother 23. Brent, how are you?
I'm good, my friend. I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited to have some fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. It's kind of come full circle for us here. Our very first episode, we drafted for Big Brother 23. You were my first pick.
Hey,
Tiffany was Chrissy's first pick.
yep.
And after the show ended, we were like, you know what? We got to have both of those people on. We didn't know you at the time, so we're just like, we'll see what happens. We had Tiffany on back in December, and so it's kind of come full circle now that we've had you on. So welcome.
Look at us. Who would have thought? Not me, right?
Exactly. When I told Chrissy that we were going to have you on, I was like, oh, Brent said yes. Okay, like let's do this. And then unfortunately, Chrissy couldn't be here, so
Yeah, I'm
I
always
get the
slightly
privilege to.
insulted, but it's okay. You can pass
Well,
it.
hey, I don't think she lives. Well, I mean, she lives on the East Coast, so she doesn't live that far from you. So you know.
Okay, I'll do it in person then. I'll be like, pay her a visit.
She's in Philly. She lives in Philly, so she's trying to go to the premiere for Big Brother 24.
Oh yeah.
Even though this is going to be airing way later than it's supposed
Yeah.
to, but before we actually get into Big Brother, clearly I've watched the show. Chrissy's watched the show, but for the people who have not watched the show and do not know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for a living.
Okay, so my name is Brent. Champagne spelled just like the drink. Like you mentioned earlier, that's usually how I start these things. Whenever I do a little, I gotta throw in the last name. But I'm an international flight attendant. I get paid to see the world and meet all the beautiful people that come with it. I chose passion over money. I think if you go the passion route, you will never work a day in your life. So yeah, I love to just be surrounded by culture and new people and new places. So yeah, I absolutely love it. The last couple of years haven't been too kind to my industry, but we're powering through, and hopefully, before you know it, everything will be back to normal. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Love traveling, love laughing, love putting myself on national TV to entertain America. But yeah, other than that, you're just a fun-loving Italian guy,
I know you talked about being a flight attendant. We will cover that because it's something that I've wanted to do, and so we have questions regarding that. But I also saw that because I'm actually studying sports management in college, and I saw you were a D1 athlete.
Yes, it was.
So nothing came of that.
So unfortunately, all the talent in the world, and I just could not stay healthy. In high school, broke my leg second to last game of my senior year, so that ruined a lot of offers I had my junior year. And then I was still able to get picked up by a Division I school, which was University of Rhode Island. They recruited me while I was rehabilitating my leg, and once I finally got there, it was just so much more adversity because coaching staff got fired and then the new coaching staff came in, and then I just couldn't stay healthy again. And I ended up getting a couple more concussions. The final concussion, which was my sixth, was actually pretty severe. And the repercussions of that lasted about 2.5 years after the fact. So I had to come to a decision, which was basically, do I continue chasing my dream, which I've had since I was 5? Or do I realize that I do have other things to offer and I do have other routes in my life besides just my athletic ability? It was the hardest decision I ever had to, make. I was kind of forced to make it, but everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that. And, the way my life continued to progress after that, I ended up getting into sportscasting. So, I went from playing the sports and being behind in front of the camera to behind it. And then that's where I really got into the whole TV, became the live lottery host for local Rhode Island lottery, and then got into other avenues, and I wanted to do reality TV. So it all kind of trickled from my career ending in athletics.
Yeah. Well, I think something that I saw was your spontaneous edge is that you traveled. You took 5 weeks to travel across the country, and that's very spontaneous and very bold to do something like that. Was it fun to do? Because you traveled, I don't know, almost 10,000 miles in 5 weeks,
so,
which
Like I was saying, I lived my whole life pretty structured, and then my career ended with athletics, and then I just graduated college, and I was with my girlfriend of 7 years at the time, which was my high school and college sweetheart. We basically just graduated college. My football career ended. We kind of just quit our jobs and was like, you know what? Let's go find ourselves. Let's go see the country that we've been living in for, however old we were. I believe I think 24. She was 22. And we were like, we just have all the time in the world right now. And between the two of us, we had plenty of money to just go out there and enjoy it. So that's what we did. We got in my Honda Civic and we started in Niagara Falls, New York, went all the way through to the Golden Coast, all the way down, and then all the way back through the South and made our way back up. So it was just shy of 10,000 miles. Yeah. And it took us a little over 5 weeks. Lived off the land, lived out of the Honda Civic, camped everywhere, and we just learned what we could live without and what we couldn't live without. And wait, I just say that twice.
I don't know. I think you did.
We learned what we couldn't live without, and then we also learned, what we needed. That's what I meant to say. It was just a surreal experience, and I learned so much about myself and being locked in and focused for so long on just trying to get to the NFL and just trying to pursue that goal. I didn't really experience much else.
Yeah.
Besides just weight training and dieting at 10 years old and just always doing that all the way up, So, yeah, I mean, I highly recommend it to anyone that's ever had that adventurous bug or it just popped into their mind or something that they desire to do because it doesn't go away. The itch never goes away. People have the mistake of thinking it does. You can suppress it for as long as you would like, but eventually midlife crises come along and it all comes out, right? So
exactly
in your 20s, and I'm actually almost 30. In a couple of days I'll be 30. It being October 27th. So in a day I'll be 30, but I could truly say I lived my 20s, and I could truly say that I lived them the way I wanted to live them, and I experienced a lot that I wanted to do, and I'm ready for the next decade and all those milestones to come. But yeah, I highly recommend it to anyone to just get out and step outside your comfort zone.
I'm gonna drop a link to a website that you created. Did you do a lot of on this trip? Did you do a lot of the fishing and a lot of the exploring out in nature? Because I happened to stumble upon, which is funny because it's on your link tree, the Rhode Island Angler. Like, did you? Because I know why you got into the passion of being back outdoors because of your father. Did you do a lot of did you do a lot of fishing and outdoor nature? Because I think you're back into that now, or
you did your homework. Okay.
Yes, I did. It's right here. I told you. I did my homework.
Well, yeah, I used to design websites. I taught myself how to design websites when I was younger, and then in college, actually, I was like, you know what? Let me make like a little bit of a website that was kind of like a blog, but not really. Just more of something to create because I love to create. And then I was like, you know what? I'm really back into fishing at that point, especially in college. Especially being down in Narragansett, and there are a lot of places to fish. So I just combined the two of just creating and designing the website, which was more template oriented, so it was a lot easier. And then, I was like, and now it gives me a reason to really use my GoPro and do all those things. But when I was younger, my father had us in the woods all the time. I was one of four, and my father was very adventurous. He actually, not many people know this, but he was a professional rock climber, scuba diver, and spelunker, which is spelunking is caving. He did a couple of expeditions with National Geographic and such. So he was a very adventurous soul. And when we were younger, that was what he, had us do a lot. We'd go into the woods, we'd go rock climbing, we'd go scuba diving, we go for hikes and all that stuff, make bow and arrows out of sticks and, always camping. So when I got a little bit older and I really got serious about playing sports and everything, kind of dwindled away. I was kind of too tired after school and training and doing all that to really, my dad would be like, oh, I want to go for a hike. And I'd just be like, oh, I'm tired. I just want to, this was at like the height of playing video games too. So like my parents made the mistake of buying a box that I didn't even ask for. the original Xbox, and they bought me Spider-Man. I'll never forget it. And I didn't even ask for it. They surprised me. I ended up becoming pretty addicted to it. And
I had 2 PS3s growing up because I was in
Yeah.
2 different households. So I know that feeling.
so I was always kind of pushing off like the hikes and the walks and all that stuff because I was just tired from training, and I just wanted to chill and play with my friends after school and all that. So
Mhm.
once I lost my father, I'll tell you, James, I never wanted to fish more in my life because now I couldn't. And it was a way of obviously memorializing him and reminiscing on all the good times. Obviously, I lost my father to suicide, so leading up to that was, a little bit more of a darker period in my life. But when you're out and you're on a lake and you just hear the birds chirping and the sun setting and the trees are swaying, it brings nothing but all the good memories come, rushing back. So, yeah, I want to say I did a tremendous amount of fishing shortly after he passed, and then I just kept on going. And then, I started to just realize that life is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised, and you only get one shot at it, so might as well live it up and
Exactly.
do what you want to do. And yeah, but that is crazy that yep, you're spot on. Yeah.
Hey, I like I said, I don't like to come into these things blind sometimes. So like,
Actually, I've done a lot of podcasts. This is pretty good. This is actually impressing me. So, yeah.
I think it's kind of funny though, because I went to your link tree, and the amount of times I've been there to get your cameo to give to Chrissy, because all I wanted for my birthday this year was a cameo from you. That's all I wanted, and she never got it.
Well, that's on her.
So here we are. It's fine. I got a 45-minute cameo. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually way better than that, because now you actually get to ask me what you want to ask and talk to me, and yeah. So, but yeah, shame on her. She's really that's 2 strikes. She misses the podcast and doesn't get the cameo. Jesus, I don't know.
I will make her. I was gonna plan on, when we air this, to drink champagne when we are flying with champagne. So. I guess we can, get into the real reason why you're here for Big Brother. What was the thing that, got you inspired to do Big Brother? Did you watch the show before you auditioned, or did you audition for any other reality shows, or was it just a let's do this kind of moment?
So that is a little bit of. It's a little all over the place. So I did everything, like I said, from sportscasting to live TV to modeling to a little bit of short film acting. And then the only thing that really eluded me was reality TV. So it was something I've always wanted to do. I wasn't desperate for it. Didn't really care if I did or did not. It was just a goal I had on the bucket list. And then so I started auditioning for like Are You the One and a couple of other dating shows and everything, because I do feel I'd be most entertaining on a dating show. But even though I am a huge competitor and unfortunately wasn't displayed on Big Brother just because the competitions with 16 house guests in the beginning are all kind of like, just look at the TV, tell us, what you looked at last, and memory comps and stuff. My forte is definitely my physical ability. So the challenge and shows like that were always on my radar as well. But my personality for dating, my physical ability was for the competitive shows. So I was just seeing like, all right, let's see if I can get on. I made it every time I've applied, I made it very far. And I always got a call back, which I'm grateful for. So I
want to know your secret.
I was kind of able to really like work out all the kinks. People they don't realize that you kind of have to prep for everything. And I was blessed to get on Big Brother because I was both recruited and I also applied. Okay. And I was a semifinalist for Big Brother 20. But all those other shows, dating shows and stuff, like leading up to it, after I got off a lot of those interviews, and I could talk for days, I did realize what I did wrong and what I didn't do. And I didn't have enough experiences under my belt because I was with the same girl for 7 years, and I didn't really branch out that much because I was like so like dedicated on my craft. Mm-hmm. They want stories and they want things that people can relate to you with. So they want your traumas, they want your best party story, they want your most selfless act story. They just want to be able to know that you're well-rounded. So I didn't learn that until going through all those other interviews and just not getting the gig. And then I applied for Big Brother 20 because my best friends are obsessed with the show. I never even watched it. I just knew that they're like, hey, listen, they're doing an open casting call in Lincoln, I believe it was. And they're like, it's our favorite show. And everyone's like, we should all apply. But no one wanted to do it. I'm the only one that's really kind of disclosed for anything. So I was like, you know what? Watched one episode sitting down with them. I was like, I think I could be on this show. And so I went to the casting call. That's where I met Kevin, actually. That's where I met Kevin, maybe 19. And I got called back, and I got another call back, and another call back, and I got all the way to the semifinals. But then they told me right out the gate that they debated me for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, my career at the time, which was high-end bartending, did not fit the theme of the show that year, which was, I believe it was technology. Mm-hmm. So we ended up going with Brent from Big Brother 20, who was a cybersecurity analyst, I believe. Kind of had the same vibe, kind of the same look, kind of had the same personality. We had almost the same name.
Hey, don't worry. He got called Brent at the end of when he got evicted, so don't worry. It happened.
But it was more or less just kind of like going through all those auditioning processes to really realize, like, okay, now I'm kind of ready. And I made it pretty far on Big Brother 20. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe reality TV is not for me. So I stopped and just kept traveling, got into the airline industry and was doing all that. And then COVID hit, and it was nothing to do. I was like, you know what? Let me just apply again for shits and gigs. At the same time I applied, I also got recruited. So I was like, all right, well, that's a good sign. And it was just miscommunication on both ends. But my casting director actually was like, well, he's really good at his job because he recruited you, and he doesn't even know that you're already, being cast, casting process. So it just validated how good he was. And then, all the stars aligned. I had all the time in the world with COVID, and I had the time off. I had the freedom. I didn't have a relationship. I didn't have any worries in the world. I could just focus on the game. And I had the personality they were looking for, and the look, and then bam, I was on it.
I think it's wild because you said you started with BB19. I didn't start watching this show. Huge Survivor fan, love Survivor multiple times over. I can watch it multiple times. And it wasn't until COVID, I was sitting at my friend's house and I said, what is this whole Big Brother? Like, what is Big Brother? And she goes, oh, well, it's already on their 21st. They're already done with their 21st season. Yeah. And she started me with Cody Calafori and Derek Lavouser on BB15. And I literally looked at her and I said, I'm going to be on this one day, hopefully. Turns out we're not friends anymore. So now it's my end game to get on the show.
There you go.
Because she would be very mad at me for being on the show, on her favorite show. But no, so like, what was when you went into the house, what was your plan going in? Did you have a strategy or?
I really wanted to stay low key, believe it or not, but it made it so hard being Frenchie's number one target as soon as he saw me. It's no secret. He wanted a meathead, and I fit the criteria. So my whole game plan was lay low, just, shut up, do whatever. But my back was against the wall too quick out the gate. And it was like, okay, well, now Frenchie's going through everyone, giving everyone promises, and then everyone's becoming safe because of all the twists and turns. And I was like, it's just me and Trav left. So now I got to say and do whatever I can possibly say and do to not, go home week one. Everyone would rather go home week 2 than week 1. So it made too much noise, and I couldn't get my name away from being attached to Frenchie's, and it just kept snowballing after that, where, it became too hot, became, something that people were like, all right, well, he was trying to run Frenchie's HOH, which was not the truth, because I was just trying to say and do whatever to stay in his good graces. Because that guy is an unbelievable guy. Well, in that house, he was just hot and cold, and yes and no, and left and right. It was unbelievable to see. And I thought, honestly, James, was like, if this first week is what the whole game is for the whole 90 plus days, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I was like, we're not sleeping, we're not eating, I was like, I can't even keep up. Everyone's conversations are just nulled after like 5 minutes of walking away. This is just insane. And and then luckily, the game's not really like that 24/7. It was just Frenchie, his excitement, and all the different strategies he had going in that were conflicting. But thank God. But like, oh my God, man, I was just like, I don't even know if I'll make it.
I mean, because what you don't see on the actual show is all the times where you guys are hanging out, having a good time, laughing. Because just today alone, I went on and I saw the video of Tiffany pretending to be Frenchie and put up you and Travis on the block. And I have never laughed as hard as I had at that video.
On the memory wall. Yeah.
It's just
she was trying to do what he said and all the bait and the shark and
you literally went, she memorized this script to do this. Let her try it. And I was just, but you, for laying low, you didn't do so well because you joined the Slaughterhouse, the Mafia, the Radicals. You joined these big alliances.
Yeah.
But you didn't want to be. Like, was it just to protect yourself and to keep you off that block?
I really thought so. The Slaughterhouse made no sense to me, but when the HOH is trying to get rid of you week one, and then he brings you in as the last member of the Slaughterhouse, and I was like, "Oh, this makes no sense because two of them are nominated, right? Alyssa and Kylan are already on the block, so now you're making an alliance after the fact. It just made no sense, especially because he tried to pin me and Christian against each other, which was a good play by him because get two other males to kind of go at each other, kind of, takes the heat off of you. But yeah, it just didn't make any sense. So I was forced into that just because if I said no, then I'm a target. Yeah. But the other two were more or less, Kylan wanted to work with us. And I was like, all right, let's stop beating around the bush and just, team up. You want protection and you want me to go against Frenchie. I was like, and my whole team's here and we all get along. All right, let's do it, Yeah. That was more or less me just being like, okay, well, you want this, we want this, let's just make something. But, no one actually – the joke was on me because my team was already trying to, go against me, which made no sense as a point. Like, and Hannah even said it after the fact. She was like, when we got out of the house, she's like, yeah, we shouldn't have got rid of you so soon. And I was like, no shit, you don't think? I was like, it made no sense at all. But and then the Radicals, same exact thing. Alyssa wanted to work together in the bathroom. She was sitting down, and I walked in. She's like, the Ace, the Kings really like the Aces, and I was like, well, the Aces really like the Kings. And she's like, let's do something. And I was like, all right, well. And we had this whole joke about being rats. So he was like, like Radicals, like I like that. And I was like, all right, whatever. But again, joke was on me because they were all. It was just unnecessary because even my own team was in on it. So I was the only one kept out of the loop. So why even try to make an alliance? One person doesn't have enough power to even overturn anything. Even if you already have all three of my teammates ready to go against me, But I told them, I looked my team in the face and I was like, especially Whitney, I said, if I go home, Whit, you're next. Like, they're just going to pick us apart. And I was right. And I was told as soon as the next week after I got out, she was like, well, Brent's probably laughing at me. He was right. And I was like, it just made the most sense. It's the Kings and the Aces that have 4 players. So if they take off me, and I thought we were the only other team that could really compete because we had Derek X and, Hannah was very smart and Whitney had a little bit of a competition beast in her as well. If she had longevity, I was like, it just makes sense that they keep picking us off, Well,
you had the Royal Flush plus Derek X.
Yeah.
So your team was kind of not even really a team, in my opinion.
But it was also about that Royal Flush, and because everyone thinks that I was oblivious to that whole thing, but it was like it took one person, myself, to come up with that same plan because one episode Kylan says like, "Oh, you know, that's a great plan, Brent, but we're actually doing that to you."
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, well, it took 6+ people to do the same plan that took one person to come up with. So like,
Yeah.
the only part of that plan that is even different is just me not knowing that you guys are just going against me. So you can rub it in my face all you want that I was oblivious to you guys doing it to me, but I still came up with the same exact plan by myself that it took all 6 of you guys, or however many were in it, to do the same exact thing. You know what I mean?
I feel like this season had so many alliances that A, didn't stay together, B, got revealed by accident by so many people. But I think the question that I know Chrissy wanted to know is, but did you think that your game could have gone further had you not gotten mixed up in the slaughterhouse?
Oh, of course, absolutely. If I wasn't tied to Frenchie, I would have been a shield for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's to my knowledge that Xavier didn't want to get rid of me right away. Either did Kylan. It wasn't good for their game because it's just another male to protect them. As far as like, you know, let people get picked off one by one. You know, it was more or less my own teammates that really, and Tiffany that really wanted to get me out, you know, because Tiffany thought I was ahead of the snake with Frenchie, rightfully so, because, you know, she was supposed to be really close with Frenchie, and Frenchie was saying, like, listen, it was Brent making all the decisions, which it wasn't. I was influencing and trying to persuade against me, but any other decision he made, like, that's kind of on him. You know, I was just trying to say, like, listen, just don't put me up. I got you. I'm ride or die. I'm a very loyal person. And I was really loyal to my own team, too, which is kind of wild because they didn't see that, but I really was. Like, I had my team's interest, even though me and Whitney didn't get along, even though me and Hannah didn't get along. You know, we had different ideals, beliefs, and values, but at the same time, I was still ride or die my team, you know? And if I wasn't mixed up in the slaughterhouse, I really think I would have been able to just stick to myself, you know, not really have to play much game in the beginning, kind of be like the dumb jock and stuff. And but yeah, that all got exposed as soon as he was like, yeah, so I'm thinking about you putting you up. And I'm like, all right, well, let's find some common ground and hopefully get me off. And it did. But
so
yeah,
she apparently heard that there was a rumor that circulated that that you knew you were going to be evicted.
Oh, I said it right to Xavier's face as soon as he wanted to put me up.
So, but it wasn't a blindside then.
No, not at all.
No.
That's another thing too. Everyone's all upset because they're like, "Well, how'd you know you're gonna get blindsided?" I was like, "There's no way in hell that I am the pawn." I was like, it just makes no sense. Xavier, you looked me in the dead of my eyes, and I told you, like, listen, if you put me up, my team's not gonna trust you. We just made an alliance a day before, which was the Radicals. I was like, I'm not a pawn. Putting me up makes no sense. I said it immediately, without hesitation. As soon as he was like, "Hey, how do you feel like going up as a pawn?" I was like, "Against Brittany?" I was like, "I wouldn't even vote Brittany out." You know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense. Brittany's a great person and became a good competitor in the game, but at that point in time, yeah, I was like, of course it's me. Of course I'm going home. I even reassured Brittany. I was like, listen, you're not the target. There's no way you are. You have nothing to worry about. I consoled her about it. Like, I was like, listen, it's me. And just take a deep breath. Just worry about the next couple of days and trying to win the veto. If I can get out of this, I can get out of this. If I can't, you have nothing to worry about. But the last-ditch effort, which was what the Royal Flush did to me, what I came up with was more or less just trying, because we and Alyssa were close, and it didn't really show that on the show. Like, me and her and Derek X laughed the whole time. If you watch the live feeds, like, that's why there's so many inside jokes and everything and stuff. Like, all that was behind the scenes. So I really did trust Alyssa, and Alyssa actually cried betraying me. So that speaks volumes, because she's not a very emotional person at all. So we really were close, and I really felt like I could trust her on the Kings because I already kind of knew that the Kings were trying to go against me because, again, it makes the most sense. They're a team of 4. I'm a team of 4, So let's just knock that out. Now we have numbers versus 3
teams of 3.
Mhm.
So it made sense, all logically added up. But when Kylan and them came to us, and I was like, all right, listen, let's try to infiltrate and get them to keep the nominations the same, just so they don't put up me and Derek X. Because right now it's me and the Joker, right? Me and Brittany. So that means we don't have to be. We have a shot. But if you put up and they changed the nominations, they put up me and Derek X. Now you're losing an ace regardless. So it was more or less trying to prevent that from happening because there was no way I was going to stay over Derek X. And if I could persuade enough people, I might be able to stay over Brittany. That's why I was like, I don't want him to use the power of veto. I didn't want, and so I was happy with that. It was part of the plan. And then just trying to get the other 2 alliances that I had with people in them, Mafia and then Alyssa from the Radicals, and my team, we had the numbers to overturn and keep me. And I was going to be ride or die Alyssa. I was going to be ride or die the Aces, and I was going to be loyal to the Queens, But it didn't work out like that, and I had to go around trying to make it look like I had the votes and try to stay because, I was trying to put, words of affirmation and trying to put it out there like, listen, I can help, I can do this, blah, 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 blah. But there was no doubt in my mind that I was not going to go home. Like, this is not looking good. Let me try. And then obviously the live show, I wasn't shocked. I was hopeful. I will never deny that. Like I was like, oh, maybe this will go in my favor.
Were you shocked that it was were you shocked that it was unanimous? Or
the only person who didn't vote was Julie Chen, and I was like, I'm like, oh, Jesus. When I saw everyone, because it was supposed to kind of blow up in Xavier's face. That was like the whole point, where it was like you had a sure thing, Xavier, and he won the whole thing regardless, so it doesn't even matter. But he had a sure thing. If he just stayed true to the Radicals, you had the numbers the whole way through. Yeah. But unfortunately, no one knew about the cookout. So it made the sense for me to be on the butt end of that because I thought my 2 alliances were the biggest in the house, and clearly they weren't. None of them even existed, which is kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. So, it's just that. It's a game of, lying, backstabbing, betrayal, and deceit, and I knew what I was signing up for. And just like I told Julie Chen, I can't be mad at them for beating me to the punch because I was going to eventually do it to them, and it just makes more sense. Because, like I said, I didn't get to display it, but I am physically gifted, So I didn't get to display that. So they got me out at the perfect time because even Xavier said it on one of the – he was like, Brent was built for the physical stuff. Like, if he was on the wall comp and everything like that, like, he would win. So as much as they might say that, hey, listen, I wasn't a comp beast, I lost – I came in second to pushing a ball with a like, that's not that's a competition, but that's not a real like.
That's what we call a time filler because they have to do it in-house.
Like in the one physical comp we got was my kryptonite, which is motion sickness, and I'm over there spinning around, and I was able to win the first one, and then I got called again. Even if I got through the next round, I was going to get eliminated because Christian was going to come after me. It just didn't really matter, I was dead in the water regardless. So
I've heard you say on other podcasts, this is kind of like going to trickle into different questions, but when you got out, you didn't go back and watch your edits because I'm going to be straight up and honest. They did you dirty.
Yeah.
You are completely a different person than what they portrayed you to be. But have you gone back and rewatched the season or like rewatched your first 3 weeks, or is that still a no?
So, to be honest, I watched it way later, and it wasn't that. I didn't think it was that bad.
It's not that bad, but it's not who you clearly are. Like.
Oh, absolutely. But I knew what I was getting myself into, right?
Yeah.
I started off a hero, and then I turned into a villain. It's just the way it is. You have to capitalize, and I totally understand that. I signed all that stuff away. It does not bother me. I know who I am, and I know what I can offer, and I know that I'm a kind person, and I know. But at the same time, people don't realize that we're in a social experiment with extreme measures, right? You're away from everyone. You're in a high stress situation because you either put on the block or you're not, or this, and people are going against you, and people are with. It's like imagine you were in your house full of like a family reunion, and that whole time everyone's just talking about you behind your back or trying to trick you, deceive you, or manipulate you. It's like it's not real life. It is in that house to us, but that's because the variables are being manipulated, right? We have no contact with the outside world. We only get the yard once a week. You're stuck with not really much to do besides just talking to each other every single day. I don't care who you are and who your favorite person in the world is. If you're put in a room with that person for 24/7, 3 months, right? I only made it 24 days, but like the whole time, 3 months, you look at them and act way differently over time because you're just annoyed by the little things they do or what they say, or you start to run out of things to talk about, so you get into topics that you shouldn't really talk about. That's just the way it works. That's what human beings do.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a question later on down the road, but
you got it.
We'll get to it.
But yeah, so to me, it's just they needed to do what they needed to do for the entertainment purposes. And I will say this: every single fan that meets me says I was entertaining. Right? They were entertained. They were entertained by my 3 weeks.
Erotic.
And yeah. If that bothered me so much because I was like so delirious, and I said that, and I was like, wait, Frenchie has a wife. I was like, I gotta make sure I said that right, because I went back to the thing because I was like, what did I say? I went to the producer. Like, did I say erratic or erotic? Because there's obviously two drastic things with that. And they're like, well, what do you think you said? And I was like, well, no, I need to know because this dude has a wife and kids, and if he's acting, erotic, I gotta make sure I fix that up because he wasn't. You know what I mean? He's not always Mac Daddy it to no one. But yeah, so you start like slipping and everything, and everyone has their fair share of saying stupid things and stuff because you're tired and you're on slop and you're not like it's exhausting mentally, physically, emotionally. So
okay, I guess I'll ask it now because you just said that. So one of my favorite lines, and it stuck with me. It's been over a year, and I know you and Derek F talked about it. But when they were planning the guys' trip to Vegas, he said that they're better off taking a loaf of bread, and I literally was like, "What?" And how did you feel about being compared to a loaf of bread?
First off, I was still flattered they were still talking about me so late in the season because they kept talking about me all the time throughout the whole season. Yeah, which was great. You know what I mean? I thank God I had enough impact on them to have them keep talking about me. But we were planning on a Vegas trip and everything. And like I said, you don't see, unless you're a live feeder, you don't see the fun, right? And Xavier was talking about going to Vegas with me because he enjoys my company. Like we were cool. Even though he got me eliminated, he still really enjoyed me and I enjoyed him. And we're good friends.
It's a game. Like you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. But Derek F was a little upset, I think, jealous because the guys wanted to do a trip, and I'm, from what I've told, I'm a good time. So and the rest of the cast can actually attest to that because we've gone out and they enjoy my company. So he was just trying to reach for anything, and at that point he just went with bread, and I was like, dude, I'm way more fun than a loaf of bread. But,
well, I remember your guys' Instagram live where he goes, I didn't even realize I said it until after the show was over.
I was like, dude, I'm just your Italian loaf. You know what I mean? And
who were you more like? Okay, so this is a two-parter. One, who were you most surprised at in the house? And two, what was your reaction when you found out about the cookout and their end game?
So who was I most surprised about in the house? On any level?
In any level.
I would say Tiffany. I actually said this in the final episode on finale night. I said I honestly did not believe she was doing anything in the house. Just because all she was doing was basically playing mother bear, just braiding people's hair and everything like that. And I didn't think she had so much influence as much as she did, especially with the master plan, like her going through all that. And it was brilliant on her end. The only reason why I even started to sniff it out at all was because Xavier would not put up Ozza when I was like, just put up 2 jokers, and he wouldn't do that. So then I had the conversation with Hannah about it, and I was like, okay, well, maybe something is brewing. I'm not entirely sure, but at the same time, it just doesn't make any sense that he wouldn't put Ozza up. Put both of them up to just make them have to lose another person rather than being an alliance member. That just didn't add up to me. But yeah, no, to be honest, when I was doing the interview with Cody and Derek after the fact, the winner's circle, they were like, okay, you want to know the two alliances that are really running shit? And I'm like, I don't know why I thought I would hear one of mine. I was just, open.
Yeah.
But he said the cookout, and he named all the players, and he said the Royal Flush. And yeah, to be honest, I was like, I mean, makes perfect sense when you look back now. But at the same time, it was so well disguised, and every single person from a different team. Like, how are you ever going to expect that?
And they never were together. Like,
so it was pretty brilliant. And kudos to them.
They accomplished their
game. I mean, every little short-term goal they had and long-term goal they had, they completed it.
Yeah,
they were basically that's.
I think it's kind of funny because in the interview we did with Tiffany, we asked her, did you really want to put up Claire? And she said, I debated that night so long. And she goes, I just didn't want to see the headlines after the show. They could have made it. But so, I mean, you know what? They did it. They completed their end game. But who are you closest to still today? Are you close to the whole cast? Or is there someone in particular that you're like die hard, like ride or die with? Or is it don't call it? I don't want to.
So I keep in contact with Alyssa regularly and Christian. Trav, obviously, from time to time, he's just busy living life right now because he was in the middle of moving and all that, and buying a house and such. Seeing Alyssa for her birthday in Miami, going to the appearance in New York City for BB 24 premiere. So yeah, I would say relatively the closest I am. Talk to Xavier a decent amount. Xavier, Alyssa, Christian, Trav. And then obviously we have a group chat that, and Derek F as well. So yeah, I mean, out of those, I would say Alyssa, Xavier, and Christian.
How has your life changed since Big Brother? I mean, besides, getting to meet like NSYNC, but how do you get recognized when you're up in the air?
I get recognized a lot. And all over too, which is as soon as people knew that I was a flight attendant, I think that really kind of put everyone on like the lookout. People they spotted me with the mask on and the full suit and everything, and I'm like, I'm impressed you even were able to spot me. But I guess just the way I move and just the way I walk and everything, and they were able to. But all the time, every airport I go to, the planes, I'm usually taking photos and stuff. Everywhere I go out, usually 1 or 2 people will either stare at me and not have the courage to say anything, or have the courage, which is so humbling and flattering because you don't realize how many people actually kind of watch and support until later on. And but other than that, I mean, everyone's pretty cool. I'm more of the I think I am more the approachable house guest, if that makes sense, just because the way I was edited and everything, like people were just like, he doesn't really care, so just go up to him. A lot of the fans get handsy, I will say that. They just look at me differently than the other castmates because of the way I was edited. So I will say the editing does change the perspective of people and how they treat you. But all the time, which is also like bittersweet, is after they meet me, they're always like, you know what, you're a really nice guy. You're not an asshole. You're not a douchebag. I was like, I'm really not, and I appreciate you saying that. But I'm also not. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna go out there and try to prove it either.
Yeah.
You know, I am who I am, regardless, and I have great moments and I have not so great moments, but I'm human, and at the end of the day, I do know my intentions and what I truly meant, and you know, whether it's taken out of context or whether it's seen looked at it a certain way, just know it's not anything hostile. It's not anything arrogant. It's not. It's just me being me, and you know, just living in the moment.
So Chrissy, we're gonna way back to the very beginning. So you said that you have you've been working out and dieting since you were 10.
10 years old.
Chrissy is a big works out every day, goes to the gym, but she actually asked us, and this is her words verbatim. You were one of the most physically fit contestants on your cast. What is your workout routine like? And do you eat a micro-based diet?
Okay, so workout routine is very basic. Again, remember, I've been doing this since I was 10. I had an actual nutritionist and a gym membership and a personal trainer at 10 years old. All on my own, want. You know, my parents never forced it. They asked me multiple times, you want to do this? And my coach at the time was the one that wanted to set it all up. And it was just my life. So come tomorrow, October 28th, I will be been working out for 20 years.
Jeez.
Right? It is way easier to maintain always. Now, I will almost never lose my body mass because I've done it for so long. That is not necessarily the case for a lot of people because they're starting out later in life. They haven't done it for as long. You know, if you're running every single day since you're 10, you're most likely going to be able to run forever and not really have to worry too much about it because you've been running forever. So my workout is I've done everything from athletic training to, bodybuilding to fitness training. I've done it all as far as just seeing what my body can do and what I like and how I feel. So right now I'm just trying to stay looking good in clothes and looking good without clothes, and a whole different type of training. It really is. It's more or less just, I intermittent fast a lot, which is I only eat from 6 to 10. So I'll starve all day and I'll drink coffee to suppress my appetite. But I'm very used to it. I've been doing it forever, which allows me to just basically burn all my body fat, keep the muscle mass to a certain degree. Not really good for trying to gain muscle mass, just really good for burning body fat. So I only work out 5 times a week for no longer than an hour, 15 minutes. You don't really need much time. But it's more or less just calorie intake. Everything is in the kitchen. It really is. And if you want to splurge and eat a lot of crap, fast. Because if you're fasting and then you eat that stuff during the window, as long as you're taking your multivitamins and you're taking the stuff that you need to take to stay healthy, the fasting allows you to kind of eat whatever you want, that's shitty calories, but not really hitting over 2,500 to get that. So you're still in a caloric deficit. So it's all about what she wants. If she wants to go for strength or if she wants to go for looking great and being aesthetically pleasing, it's all different. You kind of got to find what works for you and what you're comfortable with. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, that it's just finding what is going to be comfortable for you and sticking with it when it's not comfortable, So it's a little confusing, but it makes more sense if you want to get really, really lean, well, you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable without eating all the time. So it's weird, but it's all worth it in the end.
So we do want to know, this Park Place Cafe that you were posting on your Instagram, is that in Rhode Island?
They're going to love that you just plugged that.
We want to go. We saw your videos on Instagram. We're like, what is this? We want to know more. We want to go here, but we don't know where it's at. Besides, is it in Rhode Island?
Yes, it is in Rhode Island. Yeah. It's a local renovated theater. It was closed and run down for a very long time. And a local patron of Cranston, his name is Ed Brady. Him and his people wanted to renovate it and make it lively and kind of make it like the spot for people to just, go have fun, watch a movie, get a coffee, hang out, study, party, pregame, family events. It's just, it's in the heart of a little city,
Okay.
in Cranston. And, you have Federal Hill and Providence. So he's kind of like trying to reamp Cranston with having that theater and doing things around it. So, yeah, I mean, it was great to eat all that food. I've never been so full in my life, but when you're modeling doing food, it's tough. It's not easy to make it like. There's a lot of me like biting into stuff that just I don't look good eating. If that makes sense. So
I just know that we're gonna have to take a trip out there. Hopefully, you're out there. We'll be like, hey, come
Yeah,
meet us here.
of
Like,
course.
let's.
I'll get Christian to come too.
Oh, bet. No, so one of the things that, and I really wanted to reach out, and I actually really wanted to like just talk to you about. You're a flight attendant.
Yeah.
My parents pushed me to be a flight attendant to interview to do it. And then after seeing you and you talked about on the show about what you do and how you enjoy it, it kind of pushed me more to do it. But it was during COVID where they weren't hiring.
Yeah.
So what is your schedule like throughout the year, and like what made you want to do that path versus since the college stuff didn't happen? Like what pushed you to be a flight attendant?
Once I traveled that road trip, I realized that my soul was set on fire by just being in a place that I've never been before. And what better way to do that than getting into a career that involves traveling? There's not many. There's you business sales that are international, and then you have like traveling nurses, which I have no business doing. And then you have cruise director, which I was like, I don't really want to be on a boat. And then the next in line is flight attendant. So I was like, you know what? There's a lot of pros. I'd be working with nothing but women, right? I'd be traveling all over for free. I was like, they pay for everything for the hotels and all that stuff when you're working. I was like, how do I say no to that?
Yeah.
The hard thing is though, is only 1% of 100,000 people that apply every year get the job.
Oh, trust me. I know. I went through the process.
So I just put myself out there and I was like, let's see if I can beat the odds. And it was one and done. I was able to, fortunately enough, to just get there, be flown out to Texas, interview, hired on the spot, and then kind of uplift my whole life. But I will say this, if you have to be forced into doing it, don't do it. If you're a homebody, do not do it. If you are not comfortable with being away from home and living out of a suitcase, do not do it.
No.
That industry will humble you quick, and it will teach you like, listen, nope, you want to be home and you want to be surrounded by your loved ones and your partner, and it's wherever you are in life. A lot of people in that industry are gypsy souls, meaning they're not really gypsies, but they just have the soul of one, where they just love adventure, they love being out of their element, they're comfortable being uncomfortable, and they love just that whole if you don't get excited when you're like going on a plane when you're a kid, like for vacation and stuff, then don't do the job. You know what I mean?
It was 8 years old. I was 8 years old, and a flight attendant on Southwest talked to me like the entire flight, and I literally went, I want to do this. I want to do this when I get older. This is something I want to do. And then 20 years later, I got rejected. I got turned down once. It was a not right now situation. But so what is the favorite place that you flown to?
Lisbon, Portugal, international. I am a sucker for architecture, and it's all cobblestone and castles, and everything's like basically hand laid. And then as far as domestically, Hawaii, you can't beat it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Hawaii is just gorgeous. It's paradise. There's no bugs. There's no predators. Everything's beautiful. Everyone's super nice. It's just.
And Travis is there.
Well, he was.
He was there. He was there.
Yeah. Which I had another reason to go out and see him and everything, and. But then he ended up moving with the love of his life. So, but I'm going to be seeing him soon. We're going to be cruising together. So I can't wait for that. But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful industry, and it allows you to meet a lot of wonderful people. And I'm blessed to be able to do it. I really am.
One last question before we get into the Halloween aspect of this.
Got it.
And that part will go a little bit faster, which is why I saved it for the end. Do you have any advice for anyone who wants to be on Big Brother or wants to be a flight attendant? Since that's a hot thing, but
it's
both of them are hot things.
It's so cliche, James. But you have to be yourself. Like you really do. They're trying to fill for the show. They're trying to fill a role, right? But they want you to be authentically that role. They do not want acting. They do not want, like, you're going to be being watched 24/7. So whatever type of like mold that they're looking for, like, you just organically have to fit it. But you also have to be an onion, like I was saying earlier. They want a wide audience to be able to relate to you. So they want you to not just have a pampered life. They want you to have trials and tribulations. They want you to have something that sets you apart from other people. They want you to be able to, you know, hit a demographic that, like, you know, I hit multiple with. I'm a firm believer. They didn't say this, but I'm a firm believer that I am a straight man in a female and gay industry, right? Not primarily. So that appeals to a lot of people that are like, oh, okay, well, this brings a fresh, like, kind of vibe to an industry that has been kind of like typecasted. This guy's traveling his passion, but he's also cultured, but he's also not, you know, like, it just hits a wide, rather than me just being a businessman, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, they were like, okay, this makes sense. And we're going to be putting him in a house, which he chose us for a job, right? You're putting me in a house, which I live in hotels. We only get one suitcase. I do that for my job. You know, I'm always surrounded by different cultures and different ethnicities and different everything. I do that for my job.
You do that for your job.
Like, I'm kind of prepped for that. And I also don't really fit the stereotypical flight attendant. So that it just hit multiple things.
So if you guys do not know, and you guys do not watch the live feeds, Brent loves Halloween.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely.
I personally love Halloween as well. It's one of my top favorite holidays. So much so that they made your BB comic, you as the flight attendant.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we saw last year was that you were dressed as Superman. You dressed as a vampire.
Yes.
Growing up, what was your favorite? What was your favorite part of Halloween? And, like, I mean, granted, your birthday is tomorrow, so you were born closer to Halloween. But what's your favorite part of Halloween?
I really think the reason why I love Halloween so much stems from my mother and my father. They made it so special because everyone else's birthday in my family was more towards the summer, and they had, like, pool parties, and they always had, like, you can have a lot more fun in the summer and everything rather than the fall. So my parents really made it just so much fun. With my mother would, like, you know, she'd get little tiny pumpkins and she'd paint them all, and then she'd hide them all in the leaves. And, like, all my friends that are at my party had to go find the pumpkins. Whatever pumpkin you found, you get to keep. Or as far as, like, the costume parties, right? That's always fun, regardless whether you're a kid or you're old in college.
Oh, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, that aspect of it is always so fun. You can always just be something else for a little bit. You have the trick-or-treating. I mean, it's just with my birthday and with all the festivities of, you know, apple picking, pumpkin carving when you're a kid. And I love doing that all, you know, when I'm older too. Any girlfriend I have or any significant other, like, I always do all that stuff still. It's just the ambiance and the cool, crisp air, the colors. I mean, the best time to hike and all that stuff. It's just so much in that month, or fall in general, which I don't know. It's a lot of fun to me. So it stems from when I was a child, with my parents putting so much effort into making my birthday fun and special, and then followed by Halloween, and then followed by all the colors and smells. And, you know, it just, I don't know. I think I go back to a happy time every time it's time of year. I really do.
I started decorating for Halloween in August.
There you go.
We were, like, last year we were driving around and I saw Spirit Halloween and I was like, we have to go in. Like, it's open. Like, it's so
the hay rides and all that stuff. Like, love it.
I still get excited when my work goes, hey, you can dress up for Halloween. Yes. Cool.
Yeah. I save every single horror movie too throughout the whole year for that month. Like every night I'll watch, like, just, you know how they're always pumping out horror movies, but it's always, like, different times, like suspense movies, thrillers, you know, horror. I'll just save them all for October, and then I watch them every night. So
you watched Hocus Pocus too? No,
I will watch it. It's not out yet. It's not out yet.
It will be out by the time this comes out.
No, that's a classic. You know what I mean? Like, Hocus Pocus when I was younger was, like, always on. all those movies. It just brings me back to being a kid when there was no worry in the world.
So
You know,
we do this segment which we like to call fiery questions. So
All right.
congratulations, you get to be a part of it.
Let's get it.
What is your favorite Halloween candy?
Favorite Halloween candy would say peanut M&Ms.
Okay. Favorite horror movie?
Favorite horror movie would be Insidious.
Insidious. Okay. Favorite
Yeah.
horror villain?
Say it again. Say that word.
Horror villain.
Horror villain would have to be classic Mike Myers. It's like, how can you not like? A guy walks
in a zombie apocalypse. What is your weapon of choice?
That's a good one. Weapon of choice. You have to go old school baseball bat with nails in it. You know, why not?
Oh, so you're not gonna carry a gun and double tap it like
no. I don't want it to be easy. You know what I mean? I want it. If I was ever in like gladiator days, I would want to be a warrior. So let's get it. You know, hand to hand combat. I'm all about it.
You have to pick one for this one. Would you rather go to a Halloween party or go trick or treating?
I'll go to the Halloween party just because they probably have candy there too.
Good. Okay. Way to do both.
Yep.
And our final one. You're in a horror movie.
Mhm.
Okay. Are you the final guy or girl, the first to die, the comic relief, the skeptic, the smart one, or are you the killer?
Well, if it's anything like my BB game, I'm the third. You go. No. To be honest, I think I'd survive. I'm incredibly fast. Like I'm incredibly fast. You know, I mean, I have NFL speed. So, yeah, I most likely just book it if anything ever happened. And I just hide knee through the woods, and I just try to
just don't hide in the garage.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I'm not gonna hide in the garage with all the chainsaws hanging down. I'm gonna like sprint through the woods, open my eyes like a cat, and just take it all at the moonlight I can, and just book it through and try to.
So what I'm expecting to see on a TikTok is you trying to run from Michael Myers.
Yeah,
that you need to do that train.
He walks and still catches you. So I don't know if
exactly. So this was our fiery question segment. I kind of like that. That was fun.
Yeah.
But we're gonna wrap this up because you know it's been a good interview, but it's been a long interview.
Yes.
So is your catchphrase still "We have fun, don't we?" or is it changed? Do you have a new one? Or
it's always that, man. We had fun, you know. We have fun, don't we? It's just what I don't know. Every time I'm done playing a sport or doing something or having a laugh, I always just take a big sigh and I'm like, we had fun, didn't we? And then everyone just, you know, yeah, we did. You're right. We did. And I'm like, that's right. We did.
If you guys want to follow Brent, his Instagram is at flywithchampagne. You have a Twitter now, which I didn't know about until just
recently. I made it way later. I was told not to because it was pretty brutal.
Brent, it's Twitter world is rough. Brent B23 is I think is what it is. Yeah. I don't have it because I literally saw that today.
Yes.
But thank you, Brent, for coming on. It was fun to have you on. We've come full circle finally. So I think our BB23 days are done with us. But
I would say too. I just want to say I've done a lot of podcasts. I actually this one's the best structured. I will say that. It really is. You impressed me.
I am always nervous when it comes down to them because I was literally telling someone today. First off, every girl I told that I was having you on when they looked up your Instagram, they were like, "Oh my god!" But I kept telling them, I was like, "I'm nervous," and I don't know why. I think it's because I've wanted to interview you since the beginning. But the fear goes away. So, but thank you. It means a lot to us, and we got to have you back on when Chrissy can actually be here. So,
hey, if I'm available, like I said, I'm glad you asked. I always encourage people to shoot their shot. Really is because like you never know unless you ask. We might not get to you right away because people are messaging us and asking us for feet pictures and all that stuff. But when we do see it, I'd like to make it happen.
Thank you for being on, guys. If you guys want to follow Brent, once again, it's Fly with Champagne. But we will be right back with the rest of our show. So stay tuned.
Thank you.
Woo!
That was adorable.
That was one of the best interviews I think I have done in a very long time. And
he was like petty, but then he was like soft. He's a little soft. He's like, my mom used to take me out to the pumpkin patch and we'd have all the smells. And I was like, oh my God.
So Chrissy, we have an issue.
What happened? Oh.
I drank all of that during this episode.
Cheers to champagne. I finished mine, but not my whole bottle.
Whoops. No, I'm not drunk. I promise I'm not drunk. That was so much fun. I mean, just being able to have that conversation and talk with him to kind of just wrap up the whole BB23 aspect. We started with BB23 on the very first episode, and here we are on episode 12 of season 3, and we wrapped up BB23, maybe BB24 coming down the line.
Wait, we started BB23 in the beginning?
The very first episode that we ever did, we drafted for Big Brother 23.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's true. We did.
So here we are, 3 seasons down, 12 episodes in, and we finished. So maybe BB24 down the line, we can have some people on.
Oh my God, that would be iconic.
Get the first female Black American winner.
How much money will we pay for Taylor? She's got contracts with Lay's at this point. Like she's amazing.
No, I think it was fun to get Brent in and to be able to just be friends with him and talk to him about a lot of stuff and get the plethora of photos that we got from him that are signed by us. I posted in the YouTube chat. Anybody want to start a GoFundMe for me and Chrissy to fly out to Rhode Island so that we can meet Brent and go to the Park Place Cafe? Please do so.
Oh my God, the Park Place Cafe. Shout out to the Park Place Cafe.
The fact that I mentioned them in the podcast. But
Brent will probably be at something. Like I could see Brent down in like Philly or New York like in the next year. Because that was where I met Christian.
If you go, you have to be like, hey, I'm Chrissy. I'm James's friend from the CJ and Edited podcast.
Dude, yeah.
You have to do it because then he'll be like, oh my God, you don't know what could happen.
Oh, yeah. I'll be like, here's the cameo you sent me. Here's you shading me on the internet 3 times.
Be on the lookout since tomorrow is Brent's birthday. I kind of told Brent that we had a very special birthday plan for him on our Instagram. So be on the lookout for that. But this kind of wraps up our episode. Well, this does wrap up our episode. So if you guys want to follow Brent, go follow him. His Instagram is @flywithchampagne. His Twitter is BrentBB23.
I had no idea he had a Twitter until you guys found that. I just followed him. Because you were right. Like, it was good for him not to go to Twitter.
Exactly. And
He's fine. I think he's fine now compared to people in 24. Like, he's completely fine.
Oh, yeah. If you guys want to follow the Park Place Cafe, we're going to drop them one more time. They follow us on Instagram. So if you're not following us on Instagram at the CJ Edited podcast, you're missing out.
Oh, I just got Rob's friend to follow us.
Hey, we have 53 followers on YouTube.
Yeah, he was trying to find us on like Apple. I was like, I don't think we have that. Oh, okay. It's me. So follow us here.
I accidentally backed out of the podcast.
I was about to just start going over my handles, but I didn't have any like access to the like drawing board or whatever.
Oh, okay, guys. So next week we are back again for our 3rd interview in a row. This time it's the McKenna twins from Instagram or from TikTok. You guys seen them on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Go and follow them. Get familiar with their work. We're so excited to have them on. But as a reminder, that next week's episode is pre-recorded. We are finally filming our holiday bonus episode. Chrissy still has no clue who it is, and it's exciting. Now, I did give her some hints. I told her that it's a winner of Survivor, and I told her that it's an old school Survivor. So this time she could come up with questions for each old school Survivor.
I've narrowed
that
it
is
down to like
in-
4 or 5 people.
I don't even know who you narrowed it down to. I
based
think
on
it
what you
was
told me.
Todd.
We used that with Todd, Ethan, the Sepia, if it's a girl.
The Sepia and Poverty.
I don't think you would get you. I don't think we could get
Who
Poverty.
knows?
I would shit my
But
pants.
she has wrote questions for all 5 or 4 of them.
I'll be prepared to
Right?
talk to any of them. I would fall out my chair for any of them. So period.
And she will open her Christmas gift tomorrow on the next week on the podcast when we film. So
Or
it's
the
gonna be
box.
exciting. But Chrissy, let's run through our handles. Here we go.
You can follow me on Instagram at crosmac_4 or my dog Kalua at Kalua_pup410.
You can follow me on Instagram at jhanton. And if you're not following us like the Park Place Cafe or Brent Champagne, follow us on Instagram at CJ Unedited Podcast. And remember that next week is a pre-recorded, I think I spelled pre-recorded wrong.
Pre-record.
The McKenna twins will be on. But you know what? Until next week, we had fun, didn't we?
We have fun.
You're